All right, so you can hear me good?
Yeah, hear enough.
All right, cool. All right, hold on. What's going on, everyone? My name is Cody Panda Jones, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. This interview has been delayed so many times, and we finally have lead singer of Pop Apollo, Jaymes Buckman. What's going on, man?
Hello. As you can maybe tell, I'm just in the midst of dyeing my eyebrows
I
because I've
noticed.
got a show coming up in a week, and my boyfriend's helping me to do that so that I'm all good and fresh for the show. But yeah, apart from that, nothing too much. What about you? How have you been? It's been a bit since we've talked face to face and not just word to word on a screen, like textually.
I definitely did the eyebrows. Really suits your style.
Thank you. Yeah, they're gonna look really cool once like the bleaches, come out and dye's gone
Yeah.
in. It's gonna be sweet.
So clearly, we've been trying to fucking get this episode going, and there's been so many delays and mistakes left and right.
But it's finally happening. We're here.
Yeah. All right. So first off, how did the name Hot Apollo even come to be what it is? Like, what was the inspiration for that?
Okay, so I swore a solemn oath to always tell this story and then give credit where it is due.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in high school, I was in a few bands with friends, and those kind of didn't go anywhere because people would like get really excited at the beginning, and then come up being like, "Hey, let's start a band and let's take over the world, and let's be like the biggest thing in rock music, and we'll like just like be like legends of art and passion and life." And like the exact kind of manifesto that I would recite to people if I was going to invite them to a
Mm-hmm.
band. And then like after a few weeks, they just kind of like realized that it actually was more work than they thought, and they didn't want to do it. I'd just be like kind of left there like, but I wanted to do it anyway. So one of those guys who he found his path in life and he's good and happy now. He wasn't cut out to be a musician. It's not for everyone. He went by the name of his like birth name was Hard Needles, and he always said if he was going to be a solo artist, he'd call his band Hard Needles and Love Darts. But he was also a big fan of the beat poets of the early to mid 20th century. People like Bukowski and specifically Allen Ginsberg, who wrote this poem called "The Shrouded Stranger," which was about the gay orgy scene in America at the time. Because at that point, you like could not be like most people didn't even know what gay was, but if they knew what it was and they knew you were gay, like they were gonna lynch you. It was not a good time. So the people had to like hide like whole aspects of their personalities, their very beings, who they loved, like 98% of the time, right? And the one time they could be fully themselves was in these like kind of underground, like gay clubs where people was, oh, yeah, we're all gay, we can be each other, and no one's gonna like kill each other for being gay. And so it was the one time where you could actually be your full self. And so Allen Ginsberg wrote this poem, "The Shrouded Stranger," about that, and "Hot Apollo" is a line from that poem. But when he just suggested the name and said he got it from a Ginsberg poem, I did not know that. And but I was always a big fan of mythology, and and Apollo. He wasn't my favorite god, but he was. The name did sound the most fun to say, so I thought, yeah, that's really cool, and like the assonance of it. So yeah, let's go with that. And then um, when he like quit music, he said I should just keep the name because he already had a band name for himself if he ever got back into music, and his one request was that I should always let people know that I got the name from Hard Needles. So shout out Hard Needles. He didn't specifically request I tell the whole story every time, but I just kind of do that because I like talking.
You know, it's really impressive that you're really like getting the inspiration from this, and like again, Apollo is like probably one of the most like interesting Greek beings in mythology itself. Apollo being sun god and interest in Greek mythology as well.
Yeah, and he was also a god of music, among other things, music and poetry. He and Dionysus kind of represented like differing angles on art. Um, like Apollo was often like in Nietzsche, like kind of went into this in his kind of reinterpretation of Greek mythology and its relationship to the modern
Yeah.
psyche. In Nietzsche's estimation, Apollo was like the kind of more like orderly,
Yeah.
composed, like rational side of art, and Dionysus was the hotter kind of um, like a more like passionate, chaotic side of art. And so kind of hot and Apollo, it's kind of like a
Yeah.
commingling of the two, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea for it. When we go to your Spotify, because like for other people that don't know, you have such like a creative mindset for like music ideas and titles and all that. Like, I believe one of the songs I first discovered would be. Give me a second.
Which one?
Hold on, like I'm looking through your music real quick. It's like my question is, what inspired you to want to do music? Like, because a lot of people have like the idea of wanting to do rock or metal or hip hop, but it's like your music is completely different in a good way.
Honestly, it was just kind of like getting out what was in my soul and like just like trying to represent that in the most honest possible way. And and finding like musicians who could kind of uh work together to like kind of manifest that. And I've got again giving credit where it's due. I write all the words, but the actual like composition of the tunes is a much more collaborative process. And I have been blessed to be surrounded by incredibly virtuosic musicians who are just like absolute like masters of the craft, and have that passion behind it too, that passion to back up that like musical skill and just create like great rocking tunes that just like make you want to move. They definitely make me want to move, and I'm just yeah, we're like currently working on our third album. There were some delays because we were like trying a new kind of way of recording it, and so it's been a bit later than like it was originally planned, but it's got some like kind of even more like different kind of things than we usually do. Like it's got some classic pop stuff on it. Also got some like new kind of funky kind of like gothy stuff mixed into. So I'm really excited for it to finally come out in I don't know a few months probably.
But I'm curious about the process of like how you guys make music. It's like everyone always wants to control certain things. Like, no, I say this song goes on the album, and then you got other people that would disagree. Like, oh, I'm not crazy for it. No, it's like, what is the process with like what to put on the album and what to not keep?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I will admit, like having to. There's not a ton of stuff we like kind of like throw out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, usually, like when we have an idea, we'll like kind of like keep working on it until we get it where it
Mm-hmm.
wants. Some stuff we'll like put on the back burner for like longer than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff we're just like immediately like, okay, this needs to happen like right now, right now, right now. And I kind of like drop everything. That's actually I have a bad habit of like, oh, I've got this new like there's this new song. Let's like drop everything and like focus on nothing but. And everyone else is like, we have like a show in like 3 days. We need to like actually practice the stuff. We were already going to play the show. I'm like, but can't we play the new song of the show? I was like, we will not be like there. It is a very bad move to sacrifice practicing the rest of the songs just to practice this new song to play the show in 3 days. We'll play it the next show, okay? So yeah, sometimes people have to like rein me back on that. Um, but yeah, usually there's like, you can like come from anywhere. Sometimes like I'll have some lyrics I'm really excited about, and like I'll come to the band and be like, hey, let's like, do you have like a tune in mind that would like suit this? Let's go. Let's like work on this. Sometimes we'll just be like warming up for rehearsal, and like someone, usually like Dan or lead guitarist, will be like just like kind of noodling, and I'll be like, that sounds so cool. Can we like make something out of that like right now, or like maybe record and like come back to it in a second after we've like gotten out of the way what we need to get out of the way. And sometimes like someone, often Jamie, our drummer, will just be like, okay, what do we do right now? Oh, I know, let's write a new song. And it'll just like kind of like go back and forth until something comes out.
Like from how it sounds like if everyone everyone's really enjoying it. It's certainly going on the album. But it's like if it's like so and so like everyone just votes on it like okay, three of us agree that it goes on the album. Like is it like a little bit of both like that?
Yeah, that finding what should go on the album
Mm-hmm.
is a bit of a problem for me, probably more than anyone, because like we have such a huge backlog of songs to get
Mm-hmm.
to, and we keep writing new ones, and recording takes lot of time and
Mm-hmm.
money, to get like the quality we want. Because I devoutly want like everything, like we put the time into recording it. I want it to like sound good. I want it to be like there are all these like a lot of bands they record like demos, and then like when they want like radio play they'll have to like go back and record the same stuff again. And I just like want to record stuff once so that it's good and can like be played anywhere. It's like highest quality possible, and then it's good to go, and then we can focus on recording more stuff in the future. um but yeah, it does mean that like I have dozens, if not like hundreds of songs at this point, and like I'm, an album's like what, like around 10. So it's always a matter of like cutting stuff, and often usually we'll just be like, okay, we wrote this stuff in the last year, and it kind of fits a theme, and like kind of how the songs like play off each other on an album. And I'm not the greatest at thinking that by myself, um, but there are the people in the band who have like a very great kind of sense for like how things can go together and how they should be like kind of ordered. Um, Whereas I can hear like one song, and like I don't have the best sense for like, how it flows into the next one on an album. So because I'm not like I didn't grow up like listening to like albums straight through that much. I was always more like a bit ADHD about it, just like okay, one song and then this other song I'm listening to in that song. So whereas like other people are much better at sitting down and like listening to an album straight through and getting a sense for how that should go.
Um, and you said that you're working on a third album because I just heard Tempest Rock when it came out, say December 15th, 2023. When this
Mhm.
album came out, I actually
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. There was like 7,
yeah,
8
and
songs.
that one actually did. The opening song in that album was the first Hot Apollo song ever written. When I first founded the band, with the first guitarist I ever worked with, we like wrote that song within like 30 minutes of meeting each other, and so it was the first song I think I ever like of my own that I ever sang live, and so I'm like, that song always has a special place in my heart, and I kind of wanted that album specifically to have that song set the theme for it. And so a lot of the songs on the album kind of play into the theme, and like because Seven Sunday, it's about like how love can be like brilliant and stormy and passionate, and how love can be like the weather in most of the best ways, but also can be scary sometimes. Like when you're like a kid and like the thunderstorms happen, and like, what the hell is going on? Or like when you're a dog and they need their thunder jackets. And then the closing song in the album is kind of like a counterpoint to that, of how like it doesn't, like it can still be like that, but like once you learn how it can be, you can kind of accept it more and be it can be like less intimidating and more like comforting.
Okay, so the first song that I did hear would be Christians, and honestly, it was really enjoyable and really catchy. Like, okay, what would
That is,
you,
yeah, that is still my favorite music video we've done so far, because it has a dinosaur in it. If you're curious and you want to start like the first like Hot Pop music video you see, you want to see the one with the dinosaur, Fistigons, Fistigons.
rock and maybe sex party kind of vibe to it?
So that the inspiration for that song, my band actually has a few songs that are inspired by comic books, and that one specifically was based off this Marvel comic that was started by Brian K. Vaughan and continued by a bunch of authors. The most recent of which was Rainbow Rowell, and all of them are like really really good. But basically, the conceit is that um, these kids, they've known each other like kind of off and on for their whole lives because their parents are friends, and they like have parties sometimes, and they're just like stick the kids in the basement and let them hang out. And now they've grown up and they're teenagers, and they're kind of getting bored of hanging out in the basement, so they go explore like the like the mansion of the parent that's throwing the party. and they discover that their parents are actually supervillains trying to like summon demons to invade the Earth, and so they run away, and and they like kind of realize that they can kind of inherit their parents like superpowers and use them for good and to like defeat their parents. And the comic's called Runaways, and like one of my favorite characters in it was this guy named Chase Stein whose parents were like mad scientists, but he's not like scientific at all. He's just like wants to go out have a good time, and but one of the things he steals from his parents is these like gauntlets that like shoot like lightning and fire and stuff, and they're called fistigons. And he's just really excited about it. He's like disappointed that his parents are supervillains, but he's like, hey, check out my fistigons. So that was kind of like my viewpoint writing that song.
I did that. Like, so it's like really you come from like music and comic books, and sometimes on Instagram, like when I share like little short clips of Spider-Man stuff, it's like you really seem to really enjoy like the Spider-Man shit. So it's like I'm curious on your downtime if like because I imagine that you're probably like a gamer as well on your downtime when you're not like busy in the studio.
Yeah, a little bit. When I was I'm not. My brother likes to say I'm a bad gamer because I don't play that many games. There are a lot of games that interest me, but like from an aesthetic or story or like character perspective, but I don't want to like invest the time to get that story because like like a movie or like a TV show, you watch it and like it's like like a couple of hours to like TV show maybe like I don't know 10 hours max to get a whole story or whatever. A book, a bit longer, you read it here and there. Whereas a game, you have to be like completely focused for like, at this point, a lot of games, like to get a story, it's like 40 to 60 hours or whatever. And I just like don't want to do that. I just like, I don't care about playing the game enough. So a lot of games I'll do is like, if I'm curious about the story, I'll just watch a compilation of like the cutscenes on YouTube. But there are some games I really enjoy playing. And just like have been like my all-time faves. Like when I'm around people, when I'm hanging with friends, like in a room, or like there's some gamer bars in the city that are really cool. Super Smash Bros. I can play that, endlessly. Um, and when I'm alone, I've been a fan of like World of Warcraft since I was a kid. Because it's like fantasy, which I like, but it's also very like kind of comic booky perspective on fantasy, and kind of also it doesn't take itself too seriously, and that's a lot of flavors that really go well for me.
Like arcade game and not like the super story based game, but like there's something that's quick, fun, and easy to play and just go through it and that's it.
Yeah, because if it's a story, I generally won't play the game to get the story. I'll find the story, on YouTube or whatever. So, but a game I can play endlessly, like Super Smash Bros. Or like Mario Kart, you're just in there, like just play the game with your friends, and that's kind of how I got into gaming in the first place.
Smash Bros. Because that was actually one of the games that got me into video games. Super Mario 64 on Nintendo. Those were like the very first games that got me into gaming when I was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I have. I don't think I ever really played that one, but I did see the Mario movie that came out last year, and that was a ton of fun.
And so the music and touring, like what is it like when you do like, shows and all that? It's like some people get so like unready. It's like I imagine that it's very overwhelming at times when like people are like just sitting there watching you perform. It's like I imagine that the like stage fright is a bit overwhelming and hard to just get over.
No. Honestly, the only like anxiety I have when it comes to playing shows is like waiting to go on, just because I want to go on. So like, I'm just impatient more than anything. It's like, okay, when is it time for me to go on? I've been sitting here. We did our sound check like 20 minutes ago. Just want to go on and play. Let's go. The one experience I remember with stage fright was when I was in kindergarten, and I think it burned out all the potential for stage fright from me. Like after that I had no more capacity for stage fright. I remember so vividly though. It was my school was having this like special like holiday assembly where like all the parents would come in like after school hours and watch each class do like a group rendition of a different like Christmas song. And at the time, my favorite was Jingle Bells, and that was the song our class got to sing. And so I was so excited. We've been rehearsing for weeks. I was ready to go. I knew all the words. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. And then for some reason, and I still don't know why this happened, but I remember standing with my class in our stupid little like uniforms. I was never a big fan of uniforms, but I was like what, like 4 or 5, so I didn't really have any sway on that. And just midway through the first verse, I like spontaneously break down into tears and run into the audience to like bury my face in my mother's lap. And and then everyone's like, "What just happened?" And then they keep going, and that was it for me. And I think I spent like the rest of the assembly with my eyes closed, just like that, just like completely cutting myself off in the world. And then after that, I never had another breathless stage fright again. It's just like I feel always pumped and hyped and ready to like go back on stage and sing what's in my soul.
When you mentally ready, I guess it would just feel like very unfamiliar and way too new to like mentally comprehend. And like I imagine that some other people like would feel the same way, while other people would feel exactly how you feel. Like, nope, I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the most like natural place in the world for me, like literally.
And so it's
Like it's, do you ever feel like you like walk into a situation or a place or like there's some, it's like I guess like people call it their happy place, like one spot on the planet, in the world, in the universe, in the cosmos, in the multiverse, where like you are meant to be. That's what the stage is for me.
all right.
Yeah.
So it's like what took me by surprise was like I don't mean to be blunt about it, but it's like when you mentioned that you had a boyfriend, it really like amazed me in a good way because that's completely cool. But it's like I'm imagine that some people would feel like some people wouldn't understand. It's like, oh, you're a musician and that must be hard, but it's like not only that, your like your sexual orientation is like some people would not like mentally like comprehend it. So it's like I imagine that it's very tough sometimes, like in both situations.
I don't know. I've never really had much capacity to care or even notice if there's something people don't like about me. Um, and I feel as though, yeah, that's not really going to move the needle for a lot of people. Like most people, like um, I don't think there are a ton of people who would be cool with the way I look, but not cool with that. You know, I feel as though I repel the wrong people just like naturally, like before I've even seen them. It's a kind of like cool like protective bubble, I guess. Like like bigots see me coming from like a mile away, and they just like get out of the way. And I don't even have to like I don't even have to see them. It's quite a luxury.
Like people just see you passing by and like, oh my gosh, this guy definitely has something going on. His hair is blue, his eyebrows are blue.
Yeah, no, I mean a lot of people. It's funny. Like I this is, and I know this is like a very like privileged experience, but like the vast majority of people who encounter me and stop me on the street to talk to me or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's like very positive and complimentary. At worst, it's like just like benign but like earnest curiosity. Like the number of times where people like in actual real meat physical space have like been like actually negative to me is like vanishingly rare. And usually when it happens, it's like really funny. I remember one time I was okay. It was like broad daylight, and I was crossing the street at a stoplight, and there was another guy standing outside a convenience store on the other end of that intersection, which was like I don't know, like 10 meters. It was not far from me, and again, like bright summer day, so he could see me clearly. And he was under the impression that I was a full on cis woman, and he was clearly the type of dude who engaged in a performative heterosexuality. So he's like catcalling me, and he's like, I forget exactly what he said. It was like, it was something really basic too. It was like, oh man, I want to have sex with you or whatever. But then I came a little closer, and he realized he wasn't what I thought he was. He realized I was not what he thought I was, and he's like, if you were a woman, and then like started like parading me on a skateboard game. So, I'm laughing even harder because my boyfriend's sitting beside me, and I guess I hadn't told that story before, so he just broke out laughing. Okay.
If he knew who you were, or was just like, oh, I know you, but I'm interested in each other. Like, kind of,
The person on the street, you mean?
hmm?
The person on the street, you mean?
Like, is this a person that you're currently dating? Like, I'm curious.
Okay, yeah, no, my boyfriend Tobias. No, okay, so it's funny. He didn't like we didn't know each other. Like we just like we met on an app.
Mm-hmm.
But just like 5 minutes before I went on call with you, I got like a reminder of like some photos I posted on Facebook, like I guess 2 or 3 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and I showed it to him because there was kind of a cool photo shoot I did, and uh, and he's like, oh man, I was like these like some of these photographs were like served to me on Instagram like years ago, and I didn't like, and it's funny because I feel like I've seen this before, and so yeah, we just realized that kind of like universe was like trying to put us in each other's paths even before we knew it. So yeah, no, but apart from like the one photo he saw of me and like did not connect with me until just now, no, we didn't know each other till um, June of 2024. So we're coming up on eight, 9, 7. I'm bad at math. 7 months as of like I guess 1 week and ish from today.
Okay. You know what? Is there anything that you can really, like, uh, give me about this new album? Like, I'm curious as to, like, what you got cooking up with this new album. Like, yeah.
Okay, so one of the songs I'm most hyped for, and it actually has a music video we shot in the summer.
Mhm.
Toby actually was the director for that one, and it's so I'm really hyped for it. We're just like waiting for the album to come out so we can release it. Um, but it is it's a goth disco song, and in the music video there's a ghost drag queen. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know how many goth disco songs there are. I might be a bit presumptuous to say this is the first, but I don't think it's far from it. So yeah, goth disco song. Get ready for it. It's called Slayance. And yeah, that's one of the ones I'm like most hyped for, and it's like kind of um, probably one of the most like uh, uncharacteristic of our usual sound. It's still got like Hot Apollo spirit, but the way that presents in this song is a bit different. And the there's another kind of like dancey, like very funky one called So Turned Up. It's I think without a doubt the funkiest song we have recorded to date. So those are the two I'm most hyped for right now. Oh, and there's also the theme song for our yet to be made. But if anyone out there is a cartoonist or anything, or like knows how to get into that, at some point we want Autopolis to be a much bigger like multimedia thing, cartoons and comics and toys and everything. And the theme song I believe for our cartoon show um, will be "We're Hot Apollo," and that is the opening track on the album. So yeah, I guess, and that "We're Hot Apollo" was a very classic Hot Apollo song. It's like if you don't know what's going on, hey, we are Hot Apollo, and this is how we sound usually. And so I think it's a very good introduction and a very good summation of what we are and how bright and magical and flamboyant and uh, explosive we are. So yeah, those three. If you only have to pick three songs, I think those are the three.
But there was another question I was going to ask. Um, is there anything you can say to the fans that want to really be into the music world as well? Like, what kind of advice would you give to the listeners?
If they want to make music, um, I guess if you're sure that's like what you want to do, like just do it and don't let anyone tell you different. Because it's sometimes there you have a need in your soul, and like music. I don't know, man. Trying to like be like a professional musician, man. It's I feel as though historically it's been one of the like uh least certain career paths you can take. Although like right now in 2025, I don't. There are like very few, if any, certain career paths. So at this point, it doesn't really make a difference, I guess. But yeah, having a need within you, you can't like you can't ignore it. It will. I feel as though like ignoring that urge to create and have your music or whatever kind of art you do be seen and heard and experienced by as many people as possible, or even just you and maybe your like close friends if anything, but at least making it. I feel as though if you ignore that urge, it will like rot at your spirit. So yeah, you've got to obey that.
Um, like, are there any people that you would actually wish or would love to collab with, or like feature with?
Okay. I'm gonna choose one living guy and one dead guy.
Okay.
Um, the art, like, okay, I remember when I was a kid, I think a bit before I was like starting to really get into songwriting, like I dabble a bit here and there, but when I first experienced Mark Bolan and T-Rex, I just thought, wow, this is a dude who is as big of a dork as I am, and he has that same drive to just put all that dorkiness, the like sci-fi fantasy, mythological weirdness right out on Front Street in his songwriting. And I thought, like, yeah, this guy, I feel as though if I met this dude, like he'd get what like I'm about to, because that was always kind of my artistic ethos in a big way, and also but also just like be look completely like hot and flamboyant and like really like queerly sexy doing it, and that's that kind of um mixing of elements like that, that really spoke to me in a big way, just like cocks out glitter on let's go. That's the vibe for me. And so it'd be really cool to like collaborate with that dude. And then I guess, but he's dead. He's been dead for a long time. Um, he actually had a lot of like prophecies about his death, and I think all of them came true. Anyway, but of the living people, I think Gerard Way, because well, basically all the same reasons said by Mark Bolan. Their sounds are very different. I think honestly, a lot of Hot Apollo stuff is like kind of in the middle between like but both T-Rex and MCR can get pretty funky, and we can do when the situation calls for it. So I think yeah, working with like collabing with Gerard Way would be the coolest. And he also seems like a dude who's like down to collab. He's not like from everything I've heard, he's just like the sweetest dude. And also like I guess he like does more of like his like comic and like comic adaptation work now, which is also really cool because that was something like I still at some point kind of do want, as I said, make a hot ball comic or something. So even if we didn't collab musically, maybe we could collab like on a comic or something. But yeah, that dude is like one of the coolest living musicians um, right now, and I say that as someone who is in a band with four of the coolest living musicians right now. So yeah, Mark Bolan and Gerard Way would probably be the top two.
Okay. You know, man, I'm really happy to have you on this podcast as a guest. Again, been a long time since we tried to get this go, and we finally got it. So this will certainly be a very fun episode to really upload. And again, I hope that other people enjoy this episode. I look forward to your new album when it comes out soon. Is there a date for it or not yet?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I've been hearing the rough recordings so far, and I can't stop listening to them. But when the full thing's out, that is going to be in my ears so much.
All right. All right. And again, for other people that want to listen to their music, you have two albums on Spotify. I believe one of them was Tempest Rock. In my opinion, I think that album was great. And your first album, oh gosh, I invented music. So it's like, honestly, both albums are really enjoyable. Again, I look forward to your new album when it comes out soon. And again, Jaymes Buckman of Hot Apollo. thank you for being a guest on this podcast. I'm happy that we finally got this going.
Yeah, it's been a long time in the works, but we finally did it.
Yeah. And the next time I'll have you on the podcast again, I'll be sure to let you know. And guys, you can also find him on social media as Apollo, right?
That's right. Audible everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook. I think YouTube. You search for Hot Apollo on YouTube, you'll find us. But yeah. And also, before I go, I can give you a sneak peek at the cover for the new album. Yeah. I don't know if that's showing up that well on camera because it's just on my phone, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sneak peek. It's not a full on like glance. It's still a peek.
Yeah.
You know?
I do. But you know what, man? Thank you for being on this podcast. And thank you guys for listening to this episode. And again, I'm happy that this happened. But other than that, I will see you in the next video. And or next episode. Sorry, I forgot that I'm not on YouTube. It's like I sometimes confuse my intros from YouTube to the podcast. But again, next time Hot Apollo shows up, I look forward to it. But no, thank you for showing up, man. And thank you guys for listening. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.